Okay. And hello, my name is Paul Emerson again, and this is another advertisement for the Bank of Paul Emerson. This lovely young lady in front of me is my biological mother, Vernada Eli, and she has agreed to take some time out of her busy schedule to give a little bit of her comments and her opinions and her views about her son and the Bank of Paul Emerson. So, is there anything you wanna like cover about yourself personally, or anything that you can think of? If you can't think of nothing,
I'm a mother, a wife. I have 3 children. Paul's the oldest. Two daughters. I have 4 grandchildren. 1 on the way. I'm a housekeeper, and that's about it.
And how do you feel about my endeavor to try to start a bank? Are you for it? Are you against it?
I mean, I'm for whatever my children want to do. It's fine with me. I stand by them 100%, and that's something big. And if you can dream that big, then you should achieve it.
What are the pros and the cons that you could think of for the current banking system? Like, what are 3 pros and what are 3 cons you could think of for the banking system? So pros are things that you like about the current system, and cons are things that you don't like about the current system. Start with the cons. I had Cornell start with the cons. So what are 3 things? Well, I had Cornell start with the pros. So can you think of 3 things that you can say positively about the current banking system?
The pros is having more than one, or how can I say, have more than one, like in the city, because some bank systems only like have like one in, like, you know what I'm saying?
One in one township.
It'd be like one. It's like you look for a bank, it's maybe on the other side of the world.
Okay.
So that's bad. You need more than one bank. I feel like, so that's one. Two. I'm gonna have to come back on these questions.
Can you think of any cons, since you're struggling with the pros? Are there any things about the current banking system that you don't like, that you would like to see changed?
No, but that was one I just did. Because
So you just
bad.
did the cons?
Yeah, that's like bad when you only have one bank on one area. You know what I'm saying? You need banks all around different parts of the city. You don't need, like, somebody say, where's the bank at? You be like, let's Google. Then you look at the Google, you be like, oh, it's on the east side, or that's bad.
So,
you need banks everywhere,
right?
Close, like gas stations. You know how they got gas stations? You need banks like gas stations.
Right.
You know.
Do you think of any pros about the current system?
Things that's good. Well, I think it's good to invest your money. It's better in my opinion, I think it's better to have your money in one spot than to have it on you, because you never know what could happen if it's on you. House can burn down. You can get sick and ill, and you got your money hidden in your home. Then somebody come move in your home. They got all your money you know that you save, that work hard for. So I think a bank is a good place to have your money. And the good thing about it, you can always go to the bank and withdraw, deposit, invest. So, yeah, that's a good thing.
Any other pros?
The pros are the good things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that you can have access, ATM machines, that you can have access to get your money out when the banks are closed. All you gotta do is have that little card, put that little pin in there, and withdraw whatever you want. So that's a good thing in here too, because ain't no sense to having your money in the bank and it closed, and you need your money and you can't get your money.
Right.
That'd be a bad thing. So having ATM machines not only in the bank, outside the bank as well, in different varieties of areas.
The banking system, as far as loans, retirement, security, the ability to utilize your money in the system with the way, like you were speaking the other day about insurance premiums for your daughters and things like that. The current financial system that's in place, do you think that it's a good one? Do you think it's a bad one? Is there anything that you'd like to see different? Is it fair? Do you feel if it's biased or unbiased?
I think it's fair. I think it's a good thing because you got to start off somewhere. If you have a job, that to me that's the best way to start investing your money because you have control of your own money.
Right.
So therefore, if you want to think about your future, every time you get a paycheck, you can go to the bank and set up so much money to be withdrawn from your paycheck to go to your savings account, go to your checking account, go towards your retirement, or go towards whatever you got set up.
Do those systems work for you? The retirement and insurance.
Done none of that, but I think it will work because if I save it at home, I can always dip in it.
Right.
But as long as I do it at the bank and set it up a certain kind of way, and then put a time limit where I can withdraw, I can withdraw from it, I think it's a good thing.
Okay.
I think it's a good thing. Because what you don't see when you get your paycheck, it ain't gonna bother you because you're gonna spend what you have right then and there.
I asked my uncle, one question I remember specifically was, how does he feel about the current system being inherited by his children? So how do you feel about us, your children and your grandchildren, being in the current financial system, being handed down to us? Do you think it's going to work for us in our future, or should there be changes made to it? Does the question make sense?
It'll work, but the thing about for it to work, you have to have the knowledge. You have to put it out there to explain to people how to leave an inheritance to your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. Because that's what I'm doing now. I'm making sure that all of my grandchildren's gonna have something when I'm gone. I ain't gotta be gone, but I got something set up for them.
Right.
And I'm doing that because when I was coming up, when I needed things, when I really needed something, I couldn't go to my parents. You got this, they didn't have. So what I'm doing, when they come to me, when they go to high school, Nana, I need this, Nana, I need that. What I'm saving for them now, I would be able to go and get it for them. I won't be able to say, well, baby, but Nana ain't got it right now. But Nana, make sure you just get down the time. It ain't gonna be nothing that's gonna like, I got you, baby. I got you. So yeah, I think it's a good thing.
The investments that you have made into the banks over the years, do you feel that you've gotten an adequate return on those investments? Would you like to see a better return, or is it a fair system?
Well, when I did invest with the bank, and I didn't let it sit like I should have let it sit, but I didn't get penalized, so that was a good thing. So, but if I would have let it sit there, I would have let it just stay like I supposed to, I think I would have came out on top. I think I would have.
You spent a lot of your career doing hair. How did the current financial system support you in that business endeavor? Because you basically raised us, well, mostly raised my sisters, because I spent half my life with you, half my life with my father. So you basically raised my sisters basically doing hair. So how do you feel that the current financial system that's in place, as far as the structure of government and rules and regulations and handling the money and all that stuff, how do you feel like the current system affected your ability to be prosperous financially and legally prosperous? Does it?
Well, it was a good thing. I was able to get a business account. It wasn't nothing hard about the business account, not at all. But the part about the thing is that you have to keep your credit good. If your credit is not good, I don't care how much money you got in the bank, you're not going to be able to get a loan. You're not going to get a loan. You have to get a loan. So I don't care how much money you got. If your credit is not A1 or halfway, you can request a loan. They're not going to give it to you. I don't care how long you have the money in the bank. So that was the bad thing about it.
You brought up the credit system. Do you think the credit system is a good system? Do you think that you should have to pre-qualify for things, that there should be we were talking the other day about how insurance premiums in Detroit are higher than outside of Detroit. Do you feel like that's a justifiable system, that that's a fair?
It is unjustified, but I had found out why it's like that. If it's like it's like voting. If you don't vote, if you don't vote, you don't have a say so. So that you don't have a say so, it make it harder for a premium to be down, because the ones that don't vote, they make it bad for the ones that do vote.
Right.
It's kind of hard to explain it how it was told to me, which I get it.
Right.
But some people just don't want to vote. They don't know that not voting it is kind of bad.
Right. So
because you got to make up the ones that don't vote or don't have insurance. They got to make up. How can I put it? It's like the ones that's uninsured. They make it harder for the ones that's insured. The ones that don't, the ones that don't have insurance, it make it harder for the ones that have insurance.
right.
And that's why the premiums are higher, because it's less people with insurance than the majority of people without insurance.
Right. So does that system work? Do you think that's a fair system?
I don't think it's fair. I mean, I don't think it's fair, because I pay my insurance.
Right.
But I can't pay that high insurance, and I can't make people get out there and do what's right for them.
Right.
I mean, I gotta do what's right for myself.
And as far as a credit system, are you for that or against that? Do you think that a number should be able to impact your life the way that it does,
like
or
this. People that got credit, that's on them. People mess up with their own credit.
right?
Because I was the one that messed up my own credit, so I can't blame someone else for something I did.
Well, I'm not asking you about the world, just about you personally. Do you think
For
the
me.
credit system works?
Well, it worked for me because I screwed up. It's just for me to take care of it.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm taking care of it.
Let me think.
And ain't no sense to dutching it. Ain't no sense to hiding out from the creditors. They gonna catch up with you one way or another.
I have one. Since you are my mother, do you think that I'm capable? And you can be honest. You don't have to agree with me because I'm your son. Do you think that I'm capable or qualified to actually run a bank? Do you feel that I'm responsible enough to handle such a big, giant overtaking?
Yeah, I think you qualify because the knowledge, power, reading is power, and you do a lot of reading, you investigate, you Google, you do whatever you gotta do to know the things that you need to do. And I really do with all my heart think you are very capable of handling a bank. You're not gonna be the type of person just let anybody just come in and work for you. You're gonna screen them, background check. You're gonna do whatever you gotta do because you know you on the line on this. You're not gonna mess up nobody's money. That's what it's supposed to be. And I think you are capable of doing that. And you did it before, so.
How would you describe my character? And you can be honest. You don't have to.
Strange, quiet. The X is unknown. Rather work for yourself than anyone else, which is nothing wrong with that, if you know what you want to do. Private, not really private. Open to any suggestions. Always thinking. Always show 2 cents. And whatever you say, you're not going to take back because you're just honest. You've always been an honest person. Always. And you always speak your mind. If it hurt, it don't. Say what you got to say. And everybody's opinions matter. So, there you go.
Is there anything that you could think of that you'd want to add about my current endeavor? Any information that you want to add that I may not have asked or may not have addressed that you think might be relevant?
So is your bank gonna start off small, or you want to start off big?
Well,
You wanna-
it has to start off small. You know what I mean,
Some people,
I wanted
some
to
people
start.
go big though.
I wanted to start big, but that's how these
People go
commercials.
big,
That's
you
what these
know.
commercials are for. I needed to. The capital is required for me to establish myself as a national bank. So I need the capital to be able to afford the people and to run it. I mean, it's going to be no different than any other structure once it's in place.
Okay, I got a question for you. So, when you reopen Paul America Bank,
You be the camera guy.
for you?
Yeah. When you ask me the question,
Oh, no, I was going to answer the question. I
just ask the question.
Okay. Oh, when you restart your bank over, what type of nationalities are you going to have run your bank?
So I'm not restarting the bank over. I'm just changing the approach.
Okay.
The bank of Paul Emerson is going to be a fundraising company now.
Oh.
And the actual bank, because what I'm doing is a bank. Legally, I can put a banking institution in place, but I have to be in compliance with regulations. And the regulations that I can be in compliance with is I have to have branch members in position inside of the document, and I have to have capital. I don't have capital, and no one's going to work for me for free and hold a title of a bank CEO. That's just imaginary. So those two things prevent me from going to the federal government and saying, this is the bank and this is what we're doing. So with that understanding, I am actually an established bank. I'm the sole proprietor of my business structure, which is online. As far as the people that I'll be catering to everyone that is interested in doing business with me. As an American, I'm going to cater to everyone. And what's the word I'm looking for? Not communist. Capitalism is the idea that businesses exist because they are invested in their own market. So a toy maker makes toys as part of their industry. They're not concerned with automobiles or electronics or video game development because they make toys. So our financial institutions should be in the business of providing a financial service, and they fail at that. And so when it comes to the different groups in our society, you don't have to focus on blacks or whites or purples or oranges because, as I've said 1,000 times, there's no such thing as race. When you see an issue like with my mother's situation with my sister, insurance in her area is high. Well, there can be a insurance company that can say, even though the regulations state that individuals in this community need a higher premium, we, running our establishment, we set our own rules, we set our own values. So we're not going to target a community that are obviously low income and give them a higher premium rate for their insurance, because that's an unethical way of doing business. So, yeah, you may not make as much money as you otherwise would be able to, and you're in a position to actually suffer a loss, but those are the type of values that are missing from our financial system. So when you look at the society we live in, when you hear all of these politicians doing all this ranting and raving about the problems, well, those are the simple solutions. Don't overcharge people that can't afford to overpay.
Right.
So when you create a system, when you rent a house, and you say, my rent for this house, I want it to be $1,000, but I'm only going to charge you $7 because that's what you can afford, because I set the actual value of my property, and it's only worth $400, but I want to make profit, so I'm going to rent it for $800. So then you have homeless everywhere. You have millions of people that are homeless when they can afford to pay the rent. And so when it comes to catering, that's my demographic. My demographic isn't African Americans or Caucasians or Asians, or it's people that need to have access to finances to make sure that they can be good, honest people, because that's what they need. That's what needs to happen. I watched my mother. I grew up with her. I watched her basically hold down a household with 3 kids, doing hair and then working a job. And the thing that was ironic, being there and seeing what she was doing from a business standpoint, was that she wasted more money going to work, doing a 40-hour working for someone else, than she would have if she could have just stayed home and maximized her ability to do the work in her home. And if the burden of getting licenses, supply and demand for all of the tools and assets she needed to run her business from her home, regulations that prevent people from even having you can't run a legitimate business from your home, but you need to pay for your rent. But then on the flip side, when people do run business from their home, you're going to harass them and chastise them and fine them, but then you tell us that we're free. These are the type of values that I had to grow up under. And that's what makes my thinking a little bit different from everyone else, because I saw the little in-between things. So how do you tell me that I need to work, but then on the flip side you tell me that I can't work out of my home? So now I have to pay all this rent, and then I have to go pay for a commercial property. And then so now the money that I'm making is going to pay my rent, my commercial property, when I can combine the two and I can afford to provide for myself. So my mother had to work a 40-hour job just so that she could afford to pay her rent, because she wasn't able to expand her business beyond a certain level. And the current financial system that's in place that she spent her entire life invested in wouldn't give her a micro loan or a small business loan based on her credit to expand out. So you can get loans easily for luxury, but you can't get loans for business. You can get loans to spend money, but you can't currently get loans to make money, to be more prosperous. And that is where our system is failing us. So to go on a little bit of a tangent, that's basically my demographic when it comes to who I'm investing in. So, anything else you want to add? Any other?
That's it.
Is there any more things that you want to say, or?
No.
That's it?
For part 2.
Okay. Well, thank you for all your time, Bernadetta, and well, I should say Mom. And this has been a commercial for the Bank of Paul Emerson.
My legs forget her. None might have to sit down next time.